Religion is one of the most powerful forces in human history. From the moment humanity began forming tribes and civilizations, the spiritual world has guided beliefs, laws, wars, peace efforts, cultural identity, and even international politics. To understand how the modern world came to be, we must journey through the origins of the major world religions, explore the brutal holy wars that reshaped continents, and uncover how institutions like the Vatican continue to influence global affairs. Let us begin with the earliest civilizations. In Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and ancient China, religion was inseparable from daily life. Gods and spirits were invoked for harvests, rain, protection, and justice. Kings ruled by divine right, temples became centers of power, and priests held more sway than generals. From this foundation, organized religion emerged as both a spiritual guide and a tool for governance. One of the earliest and most enduring faiths is Hinduism, rooted in the Indus Valley around 1500 BCE. Its scriptures, rituals, and social structures influenced Indian society for millennia. Hinduism introduced the idea of karma, dharma, and rebirth concepts that shaped not only religion but social hierarchies and cultural practices. Unlike later monotheistic religions, Hinduism is polytheistic and deeply philosophical. With countless gods representing aspects of universal truth, Judaism, one of the first monotheistic religions, originated in the ancient Near East. The Jewish belief in one all-powerful and visible God was revolutionary. It laid the groundwork for both Christianity and Islam, the Jewish people's long history of exile. Persecution and survival is one of the most remarkable sagas of human endurance and faith. Their traditions, including the Torah and Talmud, deeply influenced Western legal and moral systems. From Judaism came Christianity, born in Roman-occupied Judea in the 1st century CE, centered around the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. Christianity spread rapidly throughout the Roman Empire, despite fierce persecution. Over time, it became the official religion of Rome and later the foundation of Western civilization. The Christian message of love, forgiveness, and salvation resonated with millions. But its institutional growth also led to divisions, inquisitions, and violence. With the rise of Islam in the 7th century, a new religious and political force emerged. The Prophet Muhammad, considered the last messenger of God, united the Arabian Peninsula under one God and one book, the Quran. Within a century, Islamic empires stretched from Spain to India, creating a golden age of science, medicine, and culture. Islamic jurisprudence, or Sharia, became a comprehensive system for spiritual and social guidance. Buddhism, originating from India, offered an alternative path, one focused on the cessation of suffering through the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, founded by Siddhartha Gautama, or the Buddha. This religion rejected the caste system and focused on personal enlightenment. It spread through peaceful means, influencing China, Japan, Southeast Asia, and beyond. Other world religions, like Sikhism, Jainism, Zoroastrianism, Shinto, and indigenous faiths across Africa and the Americas, also contributed deeply to humanity's spiritual landscape. While each had unique beliefs and rituals, they all served to answer the same questions. Why are we here? What is our purpose? What lies beyond death? But religion did not merely stay confined to temples and sacred texts. It entered the battlefield, often with devastating consequences. The Crusades were a series of religious wars launched by the Christian West to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim rule, lasting from 1096 to the 13th century. These conflicts brought bloodshed, but also led to increased contact between East and West, boosting trade, cultural exchange, and even the Renaissance. In Spain, the Reconquista was a long Christian campaign to retake the Iberian Peninsula from Muslim control. It ended in 1492 with the fall of Granada, followed by the Spanish Inquisition, which forced conversions, persecuted Jews and Muslims, and burned thousands at the stake. These events show how religion, fused with power, could become a tool of terror. The Protestant Reformation in the 16th century shattered the unity of Western Christianity. Martin Luther, a German monk, challenged the authority of the Pope and the corruption of the Catholic Church. This led to bloody wars of religion across Europe, the rise of Protestant states. and the eventual birth of religious freedom in parts of the world. The 30 Years' War in Europe was one of the most destructive conflicts in human history, sparked largely by religious tensions between Catholics and Protestants. It devastated large parts of Germany and ended with the Peace of Westphalia, a key moment in the development of the modern nation-state system. In the Islamic world, the Sunni-Shia divide created lasting sectarian tensions, originating from a dispute over who should succeed the Prophet Muhammad. This split has fueled countless conflicts, from historical battles like Karbala to modern-day wars in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. Throughout history, religion and empire often worked hand in hand. European colonizers carried Christianity to the Americas, Africa, and Asia, sometimes with peaceful missionaries. Often with brutal force, indigenous religions were suppressed, sacred sites destroyed, and entire populations converted or massacred. Yet over time, hybrid religions emerged, mixing local customs with imported faiths, demonstrating religion's ability to adapt and evolve. Perhaps no religious institution has had as lasting and global an influence as the Vatican. It's the seat of the Roman Catholic Church and home to the Pope. The Vatican has been at the heart of spiritual and political power for over a millennium. From crowning emperors to influencing kings, sponsoring explorers like Columbus, and playing roles in diplomacy and war, the Vatican has shaped the course of global history. During World War II, Pope Pius XII's controversial silence on the Holocaust remains debated. While in the Cold War, Pope John Paul II played a significant role in the fall of communism in Eastern Europe, particularly in his native Poland. The Vatican also holds immense soft power. Its global reach, with over 1 billion Catholics, allows it to impact discussions on poverty, human rights, abortion, same-sex marriage, and climate change. While many admire the Pope's spiritual leadership, others criticize the Church's handling of scandals, especially sexual abuse cases that have rocked its moral authority in recent decades. In modern times, religion and politics continue to intertwine. In the United States, religion often influences elections, policies, and Supreme Court decisions. In the Middle East, Islamic law governs nations, and religious leaders wield immense power. In India, a secular democracy, Hindu nationalism is on the rise, creating tensions with religious minorities. In China, the state suppresses religion, fearing it could challenge Communist Party authority. Religion is also a powerful force in international diplomacy. Interfaith dialogue is promoted to prevent religious extremism and foster peace. Religious NGOs provide humanitarian aid, while conflicts in places like Israel-Palestine show how faith, land, and identity can create intractable struggles. The War on Terror, which followed 9/11, had deep religious undertones. While the perpetrators cited radical interpretations of Islam, entire Muslim populations faced suspicion and backlash. Extremist groups like ISIS used religious rhetoric to justify their crimes, but they represent a distortion of Islam's true teachings, which, like all major religions, promote compassion and justice. At the same time, religion inspires hope and unity. It feeds the soul, builds communities, and offers comfort in times of loss. Great figures like Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, and the Dalai Lama drew upon their faith to fight for peace, equality, and human dignity. In science and education, religion has both clashed with and inspired progress. The Galileo affair symbolized the conflict between religious dogma and scientific discovery. Yet many scientists throughout history were also deeply religious. Today, debates around evolution, climate change, and bioethics still reflect the tension between faith and reason. Technology has transformed religion too. From online sermons to virtual pilgrimages, faith is adapting to the digital world. Social media allows religious leaders to reach global audiences instantly. While AI and biotechnology are raising new ethical questions that religions must confront, the future of religion remains uncertain but vital. In some parts of the world, secularism is rising. In others, religious fervor is growing. The role of religion in identity, politics, morality, and meaning continues to evolve. But one thing is certain: religion is not going away. It has shaped our past, molds our present, and will influence our future. whether as a source of division or unity, oppression or liberation. Ignorance or enlightenment remains one of humanity's most powerful creations. Religion is not just a reflection of ancient traditions. It is a living, breathing force that evolves with society. As the world becomes more interconnected, religion faces both new challenges and new opportunities. One major area where religion plays a critical role is in social justice movements. Churches, mosques, temples, and synagogues have long been spaces of resistance and solidarity. During the American Civil Rights Movement, black churches served as organizing hubs. Martin Luther King Jr., a Baptist minister, famously grounded his activism in Christian theology. He preached nonviolence not only as a political tactic but as a moral calling. In South Africa, religious leaders such as Archbishop Desmond Tutu helped fight apartheid, appealing to global faith communities for justice and reconciliation. In Latin America, liberation theology emerged in the 20th century. Combining Catholic teachings with activism against poverty and oppression, it emphasized that salvation was not only spiritual, but also practically liberating people from social injustice. But religion is not always used to lift people up. It can be a tool for exclusion and discrimination. Across the world, LGBTQ+ individuals often face opposition from religious institutions. Women, too, are sometimes denied rights based on religious interpretations. This has led to a growing movement within religions to reform from within. Progressive religious leaders argue that faith must evolve with modern values of equality and inclusion. Religious freedom is another defining issue of the modern age. In authoritarian states, believers are often persecuted. In China, the Uyghur Muslim population faces mass surveillance, re-education camps, and human rights violations. In Myanmar, Rohingya Muslims have been displaced and killed in what many call a genocide. Christians in the Middle East have dwindled under threats from extremist groups. Religious minorities in many countries live in fear. Yet, in pluralistic societies, freedom of religion is often enshrined in law. Democratic nations struggle to balance religious freedom with secular governance. Should religious symbols be allowed in public schools? Should businesses be allowed to refuse service based on religious belief? These are real questions debated in courtrooms and parliaments around the globe. The concept of secularism, or the separation of religion and state, originated in Enlightenment Europe. It aimed to protect both religion from politics and politics from religion. But secularism looks different in every country. France, it's rigid and bans religious symbols in public schools. In the US, it allows religious expression even in political life, as long as the state doesn't endorse a particular faith. In India, it is constitutionally mandated, but often contested in practice. In recent years, religious extremism has become a major global concern. It exists across all major religions. Whether it's Christian militias in Africa, Buddhist mobs in Myanmar, Hindu nationalists in India, or Islamist terror groups in the Middle East, extremism often distorts sacred teachings. These movements often emerge not just from theology, but from political grievances, poverty, and a sense of injustice. Religion becomes a banner under which deeper societal issues are fought. At the same time, interfaith efforts are growing. Religious leaders from different faiths now meet regularly to foster understanding and peace. Events like the Parliament of the World's Religions bring together voices from across the spiritual spectrum. These dialogues aim to reduce prejudice, build partnerships, and promote common values like compassion, justice, and human dignity. Religion also plays a surprising role in the environment. Many faiths have teachings that align with ecological stewardship. Pope Francis' encyclical Laudato Si called on the world to care for our common home. Hinduism speaks of the sacredness of rivers, animals, and the earth. Indigenous religions around the world have always emphasized living in harmony with nature. In times of crisis, natural disasters, wars, pandemics, religious organizations are often first responders. They run hospitals, shelters, food banks, and schools. Their moral authority can be used to mobilize people faster than government or media. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, religious leaders helped promote vaccines, organize aid, and support mental health. Religion and migration are also closely linked. As people move across borders, they carry their faiths with them. Diaspora communities often center around places of worship, which help preserve culture and identity. Yet religious differences can also create tension in host countries. Immigrant communities may face discrimination or pressure to assimilate. In today's globalized world, youth are redefining religion. Many young people reject rigid dogmas, but still seek spiritual meaning. They form online communities, meditate, practice yoga, and embrace mindfulness. This rise in spiritual but not religious people suggests a transformation in how faith is lived. It's less about institutions and more about experience, less about rules, more about inner peace. Religions themselves are adapting. Many churches live stream services. Mosques use apps to call to prayer. Rabbis and monks share wisdom on TikTok and Instagram. The digital world is becoming a new pulpit. Still, the deeper questions remain the same. What is good and evil? What happens after we die? How should we treat each other? Religion continues to offer answers, comfort, and challenge. It provides a lens through which billions understand their place in the universe. As artificial intelligence, space exploration, and biotechnology reshape our future, new ethical dilemmas arise. Should AI have rights? Can we edit human genes? Can machines possess consciousness or a soul? Religious traditions will be called upon to address these questions. Some may resist change, while others may lead the way in ethical reflection. Despite their differences, all major religions share core values: compassion, charity, respect, forgiveness, the belief that life is more than just material survival. The humans are connected to something greater than themselves. In an age of division, religion can still be a bridge, can remind us of our shared humanity. It can challenge power, defend the weak, and call people to a higher purpose. But only if it resists becoming a tool of hatred or control. The future of religion will depend on its ability to listen, grow, and remain relevant. It must engage the youth, welcome questions, and focus on actions, not just words. The religions that survive will be those that inspire, not those that intimidate. It's those that build, not those that destroy. In this ever-changing world, religion remains one of the most constant and paradoxical forces. It is ancient, yet evolving. Divisive, yet unifying. Personal, yet universal. Visible, yet everywhere. To understand the 21st century and what lies ahead, we must understand the power of belief. It's not just in God, but in ideas, in morality, in community, something greater than ourselves. Because in the end, whether we believe in one God, many gods, or no God at all, we are all shaped by the spiritual currents that have flowed through history. They shaped empires and laws. They built cathedrals, mosques, temples, and monuments. They gave birth to art, music, philosophy, and identity. Religion is not just part of our past. It is deeply woven into our present, and it will help define the soul of our future. As we look deeper into the modern world, we see how religion continues to influence even the most unexpected areas of life. It shapes family traditions, public holidays, and even the weekly rhythm of work and rest. In many countries, weekends are designed around religious observances. Sunday for Christians, it's Friday for Muslims, and Saturday for Jews. This simple structure, built into calendars and economies, shows how deeply religious traditions are embedded in society. Religion also plays a key role in education. Many schools around the world are religious institutions. Catholic, Protestant, Islamic, and Jewish schools offer not only academic education, but moral and spiritual development. In some cases, this promotes strong community values. But in others, it leads to controversies, especially when religious teachings conflict with science or modern social issues. In some countries, debates continue over whether creationism should be taught alongside evolution, or whether religious schools should receive public funding. The media also reflects religion's powerful presence. Religious themes are common in films, books, and television. Stories about miracles, heaven, hell, angels, and gods remain popular across cultures. Even secular people are drawn to these timeless stories because they speak to something deeply human: the search for purpose and meaning. Films like The Ten Commandments, The Passion of the Christ, or even fantasy series like The Chronicles of Narnia and The Lord of the Rings are filled with spiritual symbolism and religious inspiration. In politics, religion continues to be a double-edged sword. It can be used to unite people, but also to divide them. Politicians often invoke religion to gain public support. In some cases, religious endorsements can influence elections. However, this can lead to the exclusion of minority groups or the erosion of secular laws. The challenge in many modern democracies is to allow religious freedom without letting religion dominate governance. This is especially difficult in multicultural societies, where many different religions must coexist under one legal system. Around the world, religious tourism is booming. Millions of people travel each year to visit sacred places. Pilgrimages such as the Hajj to Mecca, visits to the Vatican, the Kumbh Mela in India, or journeys to Buddhist temples in Asia attract huge crowds. These experiences offer spiritual renewal, but also fuel economies and strengthen international cultural exchange. Governments and cities invest in preserving religious heritage sites. It's not just for their spiritual value, but for their historical and cultural importance. Meanwhile, global crises often lead people back to religion. In times of war, famine, or disaster, people seek comfort in faith. Prayers, religious gatherings, and rituals provide hope when nothing else seems to help. During the COVID-19 pandemic, even as places of worship closed physically, people found new ways to connect spiritually through online prayer, live stream services, and virtual meditation groups. This shows how religion is not frozen in the past. It can innovate and adapt with changing times. Another important area is the relationship between religion and mental health. For many people, religious practice brings peace, structure, and a sense of belonging. Prayer and meditation can reduce stress and anxiety. Faith communities can offer emotional support and purpose. However, religion can also be a source of guilt or fear if misused. That's why psychologists and spiritual leaders today often work together to balance faith with mental well-being. We also need to consider religion's role in conflict resolution. In many areas torn by war and hatred, religious leaders act as peacekeepers. They bring communities together through shared rituals, joint prayers, and interfaith events. Religious diplomacy has helped reduce violence in places like Northern Ireland, where Catholics and Protestants once lived in deep division. It has also played a part in South Africa's peaceful transition from apartheid, where forgiveness and reconciliation were encouraged by spiritual voices. Despite its many contributions, religion is often misunderstood. Some see it only as a source of violence, forgetting its role in art, science, medicine, and justice. Others see it only as a private matter, ignoring its public impact. To understand the modern world, we must recognize religion's full complexity. It has built civilizations and torn them down. It has saved lives and taken them. It has divided people and brought them together. It is neither purely good nor purely evil. It is a reflection of humanity itself. Today, young people face a world of endless choices. Technology, science, and globalization offer new ways of thinking. Yet many still turn to religion, not always to follow old rules, but to find personal truth. Some explore New Age beliefs, combining elements from different traditions. Others return to ancient practices with fresh eyes. This diversity of belief shows that spirituality is evolving, just like the rest of society. As we move into the future, religion will continue to shape our world. It will influence how we treat the planet, how we make laws, how we live together, and how we understand life and death. It may not look the same as it did centuries ago, but its essence or longing for meaning, connection, and purpose will remain. In the end, religion is more than doctrines and rituals. It is a part of what makes us human, speaks to our deepest hopes and fears. It tells us stories about who we are, where we come from, and where we might be going. Whether you are a believer or not, religion has shaped your world in ways you may not even realize. And as long as humanity seeks meaning, religion will continue to be part of our story. In the modern world, religion is also being re-examined through the lens of justice and ethics. Many people now ask hard questions. Can religion evolve with human rights? Can it support gender equality? Can it adapt to scientific discoveries without losing its soul? These questions do not weaken religion. They challenge it to grow. Some religious communities resist change, but others embrace reform, seeking to balance ancient wisdom with modern values. One of the most powerful examples of this transformation is the growing number of women in religious leadership. In many parts of the world, women are becoming pastors, imams, rabbis, and spiritual guides. This marks a major shift from traditional roles. where women were often excluded from decision-making in religious institutions. These changes are not only symbolic, they are reshaping theology, rituals, and community priorities. Religion is also confronting the urgent crisis of climate change. As the planet faces rising temperatures, natural disasters, and mass extinctions, many faiths are beginning to speak out. The concept of creation care is now preached in churches, mosques, synagogues, and temples. Religious leaders urge people to respect the earth as sacred. They encourage sustainability, clean energy, and responsible living not just as good policies, but as moral duties. Meanwhile, interreligious marriages and multicultural families are becoming more common in our globalized world. These families blend traditions, holidays, and practices from different religions. While this can lead to challenges in identity and rituals, it can also create a more inclusive view of spirituality. Children raised in such environments often learn tolerance from a young age and appreciate the beauty of diversity. Another major development is the rise of artificial intelligence and digital spirituality. Today, apps can guide your prayers, remind you to meditate, or even simulate religious conversation. Virtual reality offers digital pilgrimages to Mecca, the Vatican, the Ganges River. While some see this as a loss of authenticity, others see it as an evolution new ways to access the sacred in a changing world. Religion, like everything else, is adapting to technology. We also see religion influencing global development. Many charities and humanitarian organizations are faith-based. They provide food, education, healthcare, and disaster relief in some of the most vulnerable regions. Often, these organizations are the first to arrive and the last to leave. Their work goes beyond conversion. They serve because their faith calls them to love their neighbor, protect the poor, and serve the sick. Religion also continues to shape the world of law and justice. Many legal systems are still based on religious principles. The Ten Commandments, for example, influence Western legal codes. Islamic law guides civil and criminal law in many Muslim-majority countries. In some places, this raises debate over where religious authority ends and human rights begin. Issues like blasphemy laws, apostasy, and corporal punishment remain controversial in the global arena. One of the most fascinating aspects of modern religion is its creativity. New movements are constantly emerging. Some reinterpret ancient traditions, while others invent entirely new systems of belief. Scientology, Falun Gong, Rohism, and other modern faiths attract followers around the world. Some focus on extraterrestrials, others on self-improvement or universal energy. While critics call them cults, their followers see them as meaningful spiritual paths. These movements challenge the idea that religion is only something old or inherited. Even among the knowns, those who claim no religion spirituality remains alive. People meditate, follow horoscopes, believe in karma, and seek mindfulness. They may not attend religious services, but they still search for purpose. They explore ancient wisdom through yoga, crystals, or Eastern philosophy. This trend shows that while formal religion may decline in some societies, the human thirst for transcendence never goes away. In politics, the battle between secularism and religious nationalism continues to shape countries. In Turkey, India, Israel, and the United States, debates rage over whether the state should reflect religious values or remain neutral. These debates affect everything from what is taught in schools to who gets elected. Religion can be used to promote unity and pride, but also to suppress dissent and marginalize minorities. At the international level, global institutions are increasingly recognizing the importance of religion. The United Nations now engages with religious leaders on peace-building, development, and climate action. Diplomats consult with faith-based groups to solve conflicts. This is a recognition that religion cannot be ignored in global affairs. It is not just a private matter, it is a powerful part of public life. As we reflect on religion's influence, we must be honest about its strengths and its failures. It has brought comfort, hope, and justice to millions. It has also been used to justify war, slavery, colonization, and cruelty. The future of religion depends on how it learns from its past. Faith must be rooted in love, not fear, but in compassion, not control. The next generation will shape religion in new ways. They will ask new questions and seek new answers. They will connect across borders and traditions. They may mix beliefs, question dogma, and challenge authority. But their search for meaning will remain timeless. And so, the story of religion will continue written, not only in ancient texts, but in the lives of ordinary people every day. Religion has always been about more than just gods and doctrines. It's about the stories we tell, the values we live by, and the communities we build. It reminds us that we are not alone, that we are part of something bigger, whether we call it God, spirit, truth, or simply life itself. In a world full of chaos and change, religion offers something to hold on to. It gives people strength to endure, courage to change, and hope for a better tomorrow. In the final analysis, religion is a mirror of humanity showing our highest hopes and sometimes our deepest flaws. But when guided by compassion, humility, and wisdom, it has the power to heal, to unite, and to elevate. The world will continue to change, but the human heart will still long for meaning. And that is why, no matter the age, religion will always have a place in shaping the world we live in.